So this is writing equations from points and tables, and this is doing it with a focus on linear regression. So if you don't know what linear regression is, might not be the best video for you, but if you've practiced that, then that's what we're going to do. So here's our steps. Basically, for this, if you're doing linear regression, the only step is we're going to do linear regression. And that's pretty much it. We're going to do linear regression, and we're going to write the equation. You can only do linear regression if you have points or a table. If I have a slope and a point, you can't do this. That's when we would use, not write the regression. Come on, Melina. Write the equation. Sorry. If you have a point and a slope, you have to use point-slope form. You cannot use this. But if you have points or a table, then you can use linear regression. So here, number 1, it says write an equation that goes through the points 3, 12, and 8, 22. So get your calculator with me. If you remember our steps, it is stat and edit. Perfect. Now, if there's anything in there, you'd go up, hit clear, and then down to clear it all out, but there's not. So this says 3, 12. So remember, you just do 3, go over here, and then put 12. Make sure it's side by side, because that's the x side, that's the y side. So 3, 12, and then 8, 22. 8, and then 22. Like that. So 3, 12, 8, 22. Perfect. Then we go to stat, over to calculate, and then down to linear regression. We hit enter, all the way down to calculate. We hit enter, and we get our equation. You do not write this. Some of y'all are just copying this down. That's not what I want. It's 2x plus 6 because they're positive. So it's just y equals 2x plus 6. Perfect. There you go. Okay? So that's writing the equation. So that looks very familiar. If you need to, you can look off your linear regression steps. Then we'll do a table just to practice, and then we'll do one of these multi-reps. So we're going to write an equation for this table. So we're going to hit stat edit. Remember, I'm going to hit up, clear, and then down. Do not hit delete. Delete will mess up your whole world, but up, clear, and down. So you can, I'm just going to type in all of these x's at once. So -3, enter. 2, enter. 5, enter. 8, enter. And I match them up. -3 goes with -8. Enter. 7, 16, and 25. Perfect. So there we go. We get that kind of stuff. I double check it to look that it matches. It looks great. Stat, over to calculate, and then down to linear regression. And then I hit enter. All the way down to calculate. Perfect. Hit enter. That's great. It says a 3 and a 1. +3, +1. So that just means y equals 3x plus 1. Perfect. Now let's look at a multi-rep. We have to do a whole bunch of stuff for this. Okay? This says point-slope form, and you can do that with point-slope form. And let me explain to you that there's a different way to do this. You can find slope by hand and then do point-slope form to do that. However, for you guys, we're doing linear regression on this, so we don't have to do all that work by hand. So, for example, I'm just going to put these points in. So you can kind of like cross this off here if you want to, and just put like lin reg, because we're doing linear regression. So, calculator. Stat, edit, up, clear out everything that's in there. We're going to clear it all out. And it says -5, 11. So -5 down over 11. Make sure you're not putting -5 and then 11 on the same column. And then 3, 3. So 3 down over 3. So -5 and 11 and 3 and 3. Stat, calc, down to linear regression, all the way down to calculate, enter, and I get -1 for the slope and +6 for the for the y-intercept. So your equation is y equals -1x plus 6. That is your equation. Okay? Now let's talk about graphing this equation, because you honestly have two choices. The way we've been graphing is we put a point at the y-intercept, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we do rise over run with the slope. So -1 over 1. I'm going to keep going. Down 1 over 1. And this makes sense because this is a negative slope. I can go in the other direction too. And it crosses the axis at 6. So I draw my line. I got to tell you, I'm pretty proud of this line, guys. That's pretty great. and I can graph it that way. That's perfect. But there is another way that you can graph this, and I'll check it with blue. I have 2 points here. If I draw 2 points, or if I put 2 points on a graph, can I draw a straight line? Yeah. So if you wanted to, that's negative 5, 11. So negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's right there on that line. And then 3, 3. Over 3, up 3. That's also on the line. So if you wanted to, you could have just plotted those 2 points and then drawn a straight line. You would have gotten the same answer as long as you did it correctly. Okay? My slope is negative 1. My y-intercept is positive 6. As a point, that's 0, 6. Remember, 0 of a function just means the x-intercept. That's all it means, x-intercept. So I look on my graph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's perfect. It's at positive 6. So 6, 0. And then here are the extension questions. Some of that y'all are kind of confused on this, but we should be okay. For the given equation, what would y be when x is 9? So what would y be when x is 9? So you go back to your equation here. Y equals negative 1, but instead of x, I put 9 plus 6. Well, negative 9, or negative 1 times 9 is negative 9 plus 6, and negative 9 plus 6 is negative 3. Perfect. You can also see that on the graph, though, because if I go to 9 on the x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I go down to the line, I'm going down 1, 2, 3, negative 3. That's where it's coming from. All right, flip it over. Same thing, we're not finding slope and we're not doing point slope form. We are doing lin reg, at least on this note video. So, go to my calculator. We do stat edit. I clear out all the stuff that's in there. Love it, and I just type it in. So negative 3, 0, and 6. And then 1, 2, and 4 on the other side. 1, 2, 4. Perfect. Stat, calculate, all the way down to lin reg. Oh, I went too far. I went to quad reg. Lin reg, enter. All the way down to calculate. And I get that. Oh, okay. So now I have to wait for a second here. You cannot put 0.3x plus 2. That is not allowed. Okay, so I need to figure out what fraction that is. Some of y'all should know, but if not, so I'm going to write it up here. Y equals 0.3x plus 2. This is what some of y'all will do, and this is incorrect. Okay, if it's like that, that means I need a fraction. So in your calculator, how you do that, that's a bunch of 3's, right? So I'm going to hit clear. If I write point and then I put a whole bunch of 3's, not just like 2 or 3, like the whole line of them, a whole bunch of 3's and hit enter, and then hit math, enter, enter, it'll give me the fraction. 1/3. So the correct answer is y equals 1/3 x plus 2. 1/3 x plus 2. Now, I'm going to show you. If I only put like 2 of them, if I put 2 of them or 3 of them and hit math, enter, enter, it's not giving me the right answer. You have to put a whole bunch of them and then go from there. Okay? Perfect. That's my equation. So I can graph it. This time I'm going to graph the points first and see if that works. Negative 3, 1. So negative 3, 1. 0, 2. 0 and 2. And 6, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's say I had a perfectly straight line, and maybe I could draw, it looks something like that, right? If you had a ruler, it would be better. Or you could graph this equation. I'll use a different color. This equation says the y-intercept is 2, which I agree, 2. And then it says the slope is 1/3, which means I go up 1 over 1, 2, 3. Up 1 over 1, 2, 3. Up 1 over 1, 2, 3. See how it's the exact same thing? So as long as you're doing it correctly, you can do it both ways. Perfectly fine. Okay? And then down 1, 1, 2, 3, down 1, 1, 2. See, the reason why I'd rather you do this is because if it looks here, it looks like my x-intercept's right here because I didn't draw a perfectly straight line. But if I go down 1, 1, 2, 3, down 1, 1, 2, 3, it's actually hitting right there because my line's not perfectly straight. So it's better to kind of do your rise over run to get perfect answers. All right, so my slope is 1/3. My y-intercept is 2. Those are the easy ones. The 0 of a function, that's the harder one. We look at our graph here, and it's at negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 6. Negative 6, 0. All right, for the given equation, what would x be when y is 6? What would x be when y is 6? So for that, I do this, but instead of plugging in for x, I plug in for y. Y is 6. We're going to solve this. And this freaks some of y'all out, but we're going to be okay. So, if I'm solving this, the first thing I do is I subtract 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. Perfect. Y'all are pretty good there. This is where y'all like, I don't know what to do. I can't do this. Yes, you can. Because the opposite of dividing by 3 is just to multiply by 3. 3 times 4 is 12. And these go away. And you're left with 1x. And you can divide by 1 or just x is 12. Perfect. And that makes sense because if y is 6 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, it looks like it's going to hit right there. It's perfect. Okay? Let's do special cases and then we'll be done. We know our special cases are undefined and zero slope. I'm going to show you what that looks like in stat edit though. Okay? So let's do stat edit. Clear up what we got here. Clear. And we got this one here, 4, 6, and 4, 8. So 4, 6, and 4, 8. And something strange is going to happen on this one. I hit stat, calc, down to linear regression, all the way down to calculate. And it says error domain. Error. Okay? If you get an error, unless you did something horrifically wrong, that means undefined. Because it's not a function, it is undefined, which means it is VUX. The reason for that, guys, is your calculator is doing this. Your calculator is finding the slope. So if you remember, slope is y2 minus y1, right? So 8 minus 6 is 2, and then 4 minus 4 is 0, and that is undefined. That's not possible, okay, because the x's are repeating. It's not a function. So remember, if it's VUX, it's automatically x equals, and then whatever your x value is, which for both of these is 4. So if it's undefined, if you get an error, that's VUX, x equals 4. So remember, you go to x-axis at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and VUX, VA, is a vertical line at 4. Okay? The x-intercept is 4. That line never crosses the y-axis, so it's none. And my slope is undefined. It is not 0. It is undefined because it's straight up and down. Okay? Let's look at the last one, then we're done. So stat edit. Go up, clear, up, clear. Let's do these last two. Negative 3, 12. So negative 3, 12. And then 6 and 12. Good. Negative 3, 12, 6 and 12. Stat, calculate, linear regression. Nope, that was quad. I did it wrong. Stat, calculate, linear regression. There we go. And then all the way down to calculate. Perfect. It says a equals 0, b equals 12. What a lot of kids will do is they'll write this. Y equals 0x plus 12. Okay? But don't do that. It's a slope of 0, right? This just goes away, and this is just y equals 12. And that makes sense because this is HOI. Because 0 slope is always y equals, and then your y value there is 12. Okay? I'll do it in blue. So if I go to my y value of 12, it's a little off the graph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Look right there. And so we draw a horizontal line there. Okay? So your slope, this one's slope is 0. The y-intercept is 12. And that line never crosses the x-axis, so the x-intercept, the 0, is none. Those are your special cases. Okay? So stat edit, answer some questions, make sure you're graphing, and if you have any questions at all, you just let me know.